Hello, welcome back, folks. Michael Yates here with another episode of Ridgeview's video podcast where we try to cover everything hope, healing, and recovery related. As always, I like to draw your attention to our helpline, 833-503-0348. Now, this will be available to folks through the end of June, but we've got trained counselors that are available. So if you or someone you know is impacted by COVID-19 and would like to talk with someone, please give them a shout. They're available 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Yes, Sunday as well. So we'll wrap up with that, getting that information out again as well. Melody Morris, it's so great to see you.
It's good to be here.
Thank you for coming. Melody is director of all of our outpatient substance use treatment programs. And since this is National Mental Health Awareness Month, it seems like it's also an important topic to kind of talk about. So there are two main programs. You know, we seem to acronym things to death. Like, I understand our industry uses acronyms for a reason, but many times it's like, why do we do this? So one of them is STOP.
Yeah.
So what does STOP stand for?
Substance Abuse Treatment Outpatient Programming.
And the other one is MIST.
And that one is Mothers and Infants Sober Together.
All right. So we got that out. So we're talking about one way to distinguish them is one is moms and babies, kids impacted by substance use. The other is everyone else.
Right. That would be just about right.
All right. So tell me a little bit about those programs. And well, first, how long have you been at Ridgeview? And tell me about that.
Yeah. Feels like I've been here forever, but that comes from in a good context. But I'm coming up on 10 years. So it's been a minute, and blessed to be here a little bit. When I first got here, Ridgeview had been more the overseer of primarily our mental health services here in the community. And as we all know, substance abuse and mental health, we begin to identify how much hand in hand those two things actually seem to just work together, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So in that, there was a couple of grants that had come around. And the one that I had signed on for when I first got here was the STOP program. And Ridgeview was just beginning to kind of branch out a little bit into the substance abuse field. So hence we started there. And the really unique thing about STOP was now with the day of COVID, saying the word telehealth has become far more familiar to everybody than it had been previously. But this grant, which is provided through the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse, in a grant for telehealth. And the thought behind that was to help reduce some of the barriers for those living Appalachians. So we started out in Scott County and Morgan County, believe it or not. That was the only two counties we initially served. And in those two counties, there is no bus, there's no cab, transportation is a barrier. Accessing any treatment is a barrier. 12-step meetings, not really very many. At that point, there were really none. So the idea behind that was a way to connect two groups of folks that, so they had some additional support systems in place.
Like grow their recovery community or their treatment community.
Yes, yes. So that was the initial behind that. And as we began that, the state recognized what fabulous work was taking place and how that was beneficial. And each year I just asked to let us grow to each one of Ridgeview's counties that we serve, and we've ended up with all 5 counties. Yeah. And so we're really excited and grateful to them for the support. And we just keep growing.
Well, I know you're right. It has one of Ridgeview's unique gifts is trying to be responsive to some of the unique challenges facing these rural communities. And that
Mm-hmm.
was one way in which it did it. And now, yeah, it's really great that it's in all the counties we serve.
Right.
You have such a passion for this population. I mean, every time you talk about it, you end up with this smile that goes from ear to ear, and you can just tell the passion that you have for helping these folks. Where does that, tell me about where that comes from, and why is it so important?
Well, honestly, because I struggled with addiction in my young life. Came from a beautiful family, uh, lots of things that people, and that's one of the things I think I say to people when you envision addict, what is the first thing that pops into your head? Wasn't probably who I was. So, different reasons. Sometimes that's just the internal voice and not always the exterior things. But so it started there, and I just seen how easily and quickly someone like me who felt like I had a lot of opportunity still got sucked into that. And just the challenges to climb back out were so I had a sponsor who said, "Oh, Melody, come work on this unit." And I'm like, I don't know about that, man, but that's where it began.
Mm.
And I've been 23 years into that and just have served my life to help others also
Yeah,
find that hope,
yeah.
healing, and recovery.
Amen, sister. Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
so, well, that's wonderful. You you also you mentioned mist,
Hmm.
and yesterday I was on a call with you where uh, we were meeting with a consortium group of members where you have successfully introduced the MIST program into two counties, well, into one specifically that had not had it before, and that was Scott County.
Right.
And it's part of a HRSA grant.
Hmm.
Uh, but w- stories became important to share about what does it look like when people who have not had anything, have not had any support, any intervention, any treatment, any opportunity to experience hope, healing, and recovery. Like, what does that look like? What, what, I think I even said in the Zoom, I raised up my arm and said,
Yeah.
you see these little chill bumps? The
Yeah.
hair is standing up because it
Yeah.
was like, that's what
Yeah.
it's about.
It 100%. So I'll definitely share. I've got so many stories,
Yeah.
which, and the one thing I will say, and this is the thing that I'll say to like new staff that come on board, like, even if this particular moment isn't their time, it doesn't mean it was wasted. And so always remember that. And I found myself in a few treatment centers before the one stuck, but every one of them were beneficial. So we work with moms in the MIS program. Several of them have lost their children or at risk of losing the children due to their substance abuse. And just the change. I keep saying we need to get a regular Polaroid camera and take that before and after picture because it's just, I'm blessed to get to witness that. So, one of the stories that's coming to mind right now was a specific family that we had. Mom had come through the door. She had lost the children due to her use. Her and the baby's father were both struggling in addiction. They'd been living in their car, just bouncing around from place to place, just couldn't get a hold of any type of recovery. So mom was referred through DCS. She actually, memory is serving, She did it through our intake that we're providing through telehealth way back when that first began. We started working with mom, and as mom began to start sharing, we also identified that dad also would appreciate some services. Well, we couldn't put him in our midst because that's our mom and baby. So we asked him if he would like to attend STOP. So he began STOP services. They just become such a part of our Ridgeview family. Both began doing individual therapy. They got engaged with our med management. They got enrolled in our employment services. There wasn't a service, I don't think, that Ridgeview did not have that they, one or the other or both at different times, the kids began to do as they got visits back and unsupervised. They brought them up to Ridgeview, and the kids started doing therapy. And then both parents began doing therapy with the kids. And at last, the kids have come home to them. And actually, just a short time back, we had Linda McCorkle with the state had come up for a luncheon we had done, and they shared their story. And she was just like, this is the reason, this is the reason why. And a few years down,
Did you see it?
they're still connected to us. They still engage. They still call. We just talked to them the other day. So it's a beautiful thing to get to be a part of.
Yeah, what a privilege
Yeah.
to be involved in people's life like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. But I think it's really important to get those kinds of, like, how does it really make a difference? Because people don't wake up one day and decide, today my life ambition is to actually become addicted to
No.
a substance.
No.
There is a constellation of factors that come into play that lead to being at that place. And it requires a constellation of people involved to help them in that process of recovery.
Yeah.
So if I'm watching this and I'm thinking, you know what, I maybe I need some help, or I know someone who needs some help, what advice would you give for them to take the next step?
Just pick up that phone, make that phone call. It can be really scary for folks. They may be sitting on the fence. They may not be real sure, and that's okay. Or just pick up the phone, give us a call, and we can just talk you through whatever steps you need to help you find the right place to be. That's the other thing that I think that I feel extremely privileged in the programming that we have is because we get to meet people where they are. There's not the judgment, there's the empathy. But aside from that, we can take people with insurance, without insurance, thanks to the grants that I spoke of, or harm reduction, which means you can still, be dabbling a little bit, but in your heart, you're wanting to find recovery. And so those are folks we wouldn't throw right in a group or something like that. We can meet them where we are. We can talk with them. We can help them if they needed to get access to detox somewhere, but working with them and hold their hand through it and then still be right here for them when they've crossed that hurdle. So I would say to you, even if you're just not 100% sure, but there's something in you that says, I'm sick and tired.
Yeah.
Then just don't be afraid to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Great advice. I think I recently looked again at the SAMHSA recovery wheel, or that image where it's got, I think, 10 principles or maybe 12. But the whole recovery oriented process, what I loved about it is it's really about recovery of wellness. It's not, I think oftentimes people, they hear the word recovery and immediately associate it with substance use. And that's, the recovery principles are so much broader and wider and deeper than just that set of needs. Okay, so I always like to ask this.
Yeah.
You're in this field, it's hard, hard, hard work.
Hmm.
You deal with a lot of sorrow, sadness, struggle, uh, sometimes death. You have these moments of successful recovery, these great life stories.
Yeah.
How do you take care of yourself? How do you continue to promote your own wellness?
Yeah. It's a good question. And it's definitely something I'll say to staff when I'm even doing an interview. I need to know that you're going to figure out how to set boundaries and take care of you so you can be healthy enough to come in and help them because I don't want to lose you in the midst of it. So, same holds true for me. Throughout the years, in the beginning, of course, I wasn't real good at that. And as the years took by, I realized how important that is. So, I have a lot of tools in my tool belt. I have a tribe of people. I have some regular folks that even let me call them at 7 a.m. and just purge the day. And, I automatically just feel lighter. In the evenings, I have a lot of structure. As you know, I've adopted a couple of children. So I have 9 children. So, as aside from just work, I've had to put a lot of tools in place. So we have really good downtime, bedtimes, and then mom time. And that could be anything from I'm going to sit down and Netflix and chill to, chatting with some of my friends or just anything that gives me a little bit of calm joy. But I definitely seek it out and find it. And then I'm not going to lie. There have been times, Michael, in the middle of the day when all the chaos has gone on. I've got my car and drove and sat in the middle of a parking lot and just meditated for a moment to be still. So, but yeah, mostly I'm just blessed. I've got some really good folks who support me, help me, and allow me some downtime when I need it.
I always love when, and somehow these episodes, more often than not, they always seem to conclude with this moment of gratitude. And the
Absolutely.
fact that you're saying, one of the ways I take care of myself is I've surrounded myself with people,
Hmm.
things, structure, and I'm eternally grateful for
Hmm.
those things, and I feel blessed as a result. So
Yeah.
I can't think of a better way to conclude.
Yeah.
I would encourage folks. We'll put the links to this information in the content section. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Absolutely. Let's do it again, as
Yeah,
they say.
absolutely. I've got more things to share,
All right.
better stories to tell.
Good. Good. Raise the hair on my arms one
Yeah.
more time. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We appreciate you taking time to subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notification of our latest episode. As always, draw your attention one more time to the COVID-19 helpline. This will be available through the end of June, but we'll still be here. So keep tuning in and take care. Have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.